I want to talk about the foundations of physical health. These are some things that, if you improve, will improve pretty much every other area of your life because you're improving aspects of the vehicle that you use to perceive and interact with reality. And even though this is physical health, improving your physical health oddly improves your mental health, at least is what I've found. I think there are three kind of cores or pillars of physical health being sleep, nutrition, and hygiene. And I think fitness is included in hygiene because that's just taking care of like the outside of your body. And if we just call it fitness, then hygiene has no place. And hygiene is obviously important. We'll start with sleep. These aren't in really any order. They're all very important, and I don't think anyone is necessarily more important than another. The basics of sleep, you should be getting good quality sleep over quantity. Try to get at least 7-8 hours of good quality sleep. The ways you can improve the quality of your sleep are try to wake up at the same time. That's a pretty easy one. Try to go to bed at the same time. That's less easy if you have any sort of social life, but it's still just try to stick as close as you can. Don't sacrifice when you wake up if you went to bed at a different time. If you do that, try to only do it one day. Don't let it happen 2 days in a row. That way you get back on track as soon as you can. It'll be worth it to be tired for a day. Some other things before you go to bed, you should avoid things like food. That's a big one. Everyone digests differently, but try to have most of your food digested before you go to bed. That way you're not doing heavy digestion while you're trying to sleep. That'll make it way harder to sleep. Another thing is just anything super stimulating, so screen time especially, but things like intense video games or, I don't know, anything stressful, anything that's going to make it harder to sleep, anything that you're going to have to calm down from. But the blue light from screen time is another important thing to avoid, like half an hour before bed. It doesn't have to be that long, just a little bit before bed. That way you have time to wind down. You're not doing the winding down during the 8 hours that you're counting for your sleep. And then in the morning, try to get some sunlight. And if when you wake up in the morning the sun is not out yet, even just blue light from your phone, try to turn on some lights in your house. Just try to get some light into your system. Sunlight is way better than any other light, but sometimes when you wake up the sun isn't out and you can't really do much about that. Other than that, this doesn't even affect your sleep too much, but it's still good to do because it affects it a little bit. If you can avoid heavy stimulus about half an hour after you wake up, give yourself some time to boot up, if you will, kind of like what you did before bed. I don't know. I think that helps. I found that it helps. Whether or not it actually does, you could try it though. Caffeine is another thing that's kind of plays into nutrition, but I'll include it in sleep. Energy drinks they're not great, especially ones like, in my experience at least, like Alani's, something super sweet. I don't like them. I think coffee is way better. I like coffee in the morning. Maybe half an hour after you wake up is good. If you drink it right away, that's probably your first instinct because you're tired, but if you can wait, I think it'll last longer, and also you'll be more awake when you drink it. So I think that kind of causes the longer lasting effect. But yeah, try to avoid, I like Monster energy drinks, but try to stick with coffee or tea if you can. Tea doesn't have much, but coffee's good. Another thing you should do that also kind of plays into nutrition right after you wake up is drink a lot of water. Maybe not a lot, but from what most people would probably think is a lot, because most people don't drink a lot of water. At least I don't, or didn't. Right after you wake up, you're the most dehydrated you will be during the day. The second most dehydrated you'll be is if you do any sort of heavy training like boxing or any heavy cardio. But when you wake up, you will be the most dehydrated because you haven't been drinking for the last 8 hours and your body was using that water to repair things and all that. Just drink some water when you wake up in the morning. You'll feel a lot better. Let's just move on to nutrition since we've been talking so much about it already. You need to intake water throughout the day. If you're only peeing like once a day, probably not drinking enough water. If your pee is yellow, you're not drinking enough water. It should be mostly clear. Just try to drink quite a bit of water throughout the day. As far as other things go with nutrition, just try to eat mostly whole foods. I mean, there's so much information on the internet about this, and so much of it contradicts all the other information. So, in my opinion, if you eat something and it makes you feel good throughout the day, not just while you're eating it, then it's okay to eat that. If you eat something and you feel good while you're eating it, or maybe even you don't, you feel bad afterwards, then it probably wasn't good to eat. I mean, this is pretty common sense. But just in general, try to stick with whole foods. Try to eat different things. Try to eat some lean meats. Try to eat some fruits and vegetables and grains. Nuts are good. Obviously, what you eat will be different depending on if you're trying to maintain your weight, put on weight, lose weight. But I'll get into that with hygiene a little bit. It'll be a crossover. But just in general for nutrition, try to have about 3 meals a day. Sometimes it's okay to not have breakfast and just have lunch and dinner, depending on what you're trying to do, lose or gain weight. But try to stick to whole foods if you can. Obviously, some processed food every once in a while isn't going to kill you, but just know that it doesn't do you as much good. So if you consume a lot of it, that'll be damaging over time. As far as how much you should eat goes, again, it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to lose weight, then try to stick to 2 meals a day. Try to skip breakfast if you can. Have a smaller lunch and a really big dinner, or a really big lunch and a smaller dinner. Drink lots of water, like even more than you should already, because that'll help limit your hunger. Eat high volume foods that have low calories. So don't be eating things like nuts and all that. Eat fruits. Those are mostly water anyways. So those will fill you faster, but you won't have to eat as much of them, as many calories. If you are just trying to maintain weight, then kind of just eat food, right? And if you start putting on weight, eat less. If you start losing weight, eat more. This depends on also, obviously, what kind of exercise you're doing, but I'll get to that in a second. If you're trying to gain weight, you should be eating a lot of low volume, high density foods like nuts. Try to eat a lot of lean meat if you can. Chicken, beef, really any meat, pork, turkey will be better than nothing. So you gotta hit protein. I'm gonna get to creatine in a second. You should try to learn what different things do for your body, what complete proteins and incomplete proteins do, what amino acids are in them, what carbs are, good carbs, bad carbs, fats, all of that stuff. You should at least have a general understanding of what they do and of what the food you eat is made out of. Creatine basically increases the amount of ATP you have, or how fast you regenerate it, something like that. So if you're exercising regularly, which I'll get to here right after this, then I would say creatine is a good thing to take. There's some people who cherry pick studies that say it isn't good, but there are very few of those compared to the many that say it is good. Obviously, it hasn't been around very long to know whether or not it is good long term, but so far we haven't really seen any bad effects. It takes up a lot of water, so you should be drinking water while you take it. But if you use the foundation of the rules where you should be peeing clear, peeing often-ish, drinking that amount of water, then taking creatine won't change that, because you're still using the other scale to check how much water you're taking and whether or not it's enough. But yeah, take creatine monohydrate. It's the cheapest to get basically the same effect. I think it'll help quite a bit. It helps me quite a bit with exercise. So let's get to hygiene. As far as exercise goes, there's a lot of different information. It's very complicated because of the internet. Any way that you could go about it is out there. So I think the very basic concept is that the more you're moving, the better. pretty much everybody that I know starts with push-ups in their bedroom. That's how I started. It's kind of almost a meme online. If you can do exercise, any sort, if it depends on what kind of exercise you do, depends on what results you want to get. If you want more cardio, if you want more strength training, martial arts are good too. Flexibility, another kind of exercise. But I think just having all bases covered is kind of the strategy I go for. So try to do some body weight exercises until you're good enough at those, and then you can move to weights, or you can start with weights. That's just not what I did, but there's nothing wrong with that. I just don't know as much about it. As far as body weight exercises go in calisthenics, I started with push-ups in my bedroom, like I said, and then after that I kind of moved on to it just like an all-body workout 3 days a week, and it was really weird. I would not recommend that, because I was just kind of like picking every exercise that I could think of and doing it. I think it might have been more than 3 days a week, but what I've been doing recently is 3 days a week, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, do push-ups, dips, and pull-ups. Those are kind of your three like upper body core exercises. You don't really need much more than that. If you do them right, they'll still target your core and everything else that you would need like that. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I go on a run, because I've been ignoring cardio. I kind of still ignore leg day, if I'm being honest, but cardio, going on a run kind of is a leg day, especially when you do a little bit of strength training to make sure that you're not hurting yourself when you run. You probably shouldn't ignore leg day, but let's be honest, you're probably going to. If you don't, that's great, more power to you. I don't know. I don't do leg day very often. I think it's a lot easier to do with weights and at the gym than it is with body weight exercises. Just try to move more, try to burn some calories. If you ate, go on a walk afterwards. That'll help digest your food and burn some of those calories. If you just want to burn calories, walk, don't run, because running comes with a hunger afterwards, a spike in hunger. So you're probably going to eat food. And if you don't eat food, you're going to be burning willpower and discipline trying to not eat food. So walking burns just about as many calories as running, and you don't have that spike in hunger afterwards, which is good. I like doing exercise in the morning because it's, more peaceful, I guess, but also it's just a good start to my day. It's a kind of an easy, well, not easy, but it's a significant win in the morning. It's kind of one of the main things that you do during the day is already knocked out. Sometimes it's definitely hard to find the motivation to do that, but I think is very manageable, especially once you get into the habit of doing it. I've been looking into high volume, high repetition calisthenics recently. I haven't actually started trying it yet, but I think I'm going to. But if you haven't been doing any exercise, then the main thing you should focus on is doing something. Just do something and don't hurt yourself. And that's pretty much the best information you can have when you start. You'll figure out what you like and what you don't like and what works for you and what doesn't as you go. But everyone says like the best time to start was 10 years ago, the second best time is today. I would apply that concept here, but if you think about it, wouldn't the second best time to start, wouldn't that have been like 9 years ago and 364 days? And like so on and so forth. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about it too hard, but the sooner you start, the better. You'll mess up and you'll learn. Hopefully you don't injure yourself when you mess up. Try to focus on form if you can when you start. That'll help, even though you might be doing way less reps. I know when I started, like 20 push-ups turned into 4 with perfect form, but still that's better. You have less chance of injuring yourself. You'll train the things you're supposed to train. Once you get the fundamentals of basic strength down, you can start focusing less on form as sort of a progression. So the way progressions work in calisthenics is similar to when you do weights. Obviously your progressions are increasing weights or increasing the weight of your exercise. With calisthenics, your progressions consist of the amount of reps you do, perfection of the form, like the quality of the form that you do, other things. You can increase weight too sometimes, weight vests and stuff like that. But overall, it's just the amount of reps you do and how cleanly you do them. Also, there's like progression, like levels. So doing a push-up on your knees versus doing a normal push-up versus doing, a one-arm push-up. Those are different levels, and you can look up all the progressions for different exercises. But mostly, if you just focus on push-ups, dips, and pull-ups when you start. And as far as pull-ups go, if you don't have a bar at your house, go to a park, go find a door frame to hang off of. Make sure it supports your weight first. But there's a lot of ways you can do it. That's one of the harder ones, and dips too if you don't have bars. But you can get dip bars for pretty cheap that work. Pull-up bar is the harder thing because it takes up more space. But even that, you can get one that you put in your door frame for pretty cheap too. So that's not that hard. Cardio, running's pretty easy. You just run. If you can get like a fitness tracker, that helps. And you can track your progress better too. Know when you're actually improving. Overall, that's most of fitness. Again, try to drink plenty of water. Water's a big one. Water could almost have its own category, but I think it just fits into every category. So try to drink plenty of water when you're exercising. Try to keep your minerals up, your electrolytes like magnesium, potassium, sodium. Try to get a lot of those, otherwise you're gonna cramp. At least I do. I don't get those. You can take supplements. I take a magnesium supplement and just like a basic multivitamin. But try to get a lot of those things from your food that you eat. That goes back to knowing what's in the food that you eat and being intentional about it. Let's move on to the hygiene part of hygiene. If you aren't taking basic care of yourself, you should start doing that. Start showering every day. I hope you've been doing that already. Start taking good care of your hair, of your skin. Once you kind of take care of your nutrition and your sleep, your skin should be pretty easy to take care of, especially if you take care of your hair, because a lot of the reason that you get like acne on your face is because of the oils in your hair. But if you can take good care of your hair and your nutrition and your sleep, your skin should basically sort itself out. You should obviously still wash it and everything like that. This is kind of hard to talk about because I feel like it's all so obvious. Brush your teeth twice a day. Keep your nails trimmed short. Most things that you do is good to have your nails short. For some things no, I can't even think of anything. I mean, if you're a girl, do whatever you want. I can't really speak for girls, but stay clean shaven. You don't have to be like clean shaven, like shave all of your hair off, but keep whatever you have clean. Yeah, I don't really know what else as far as hygiene goes. Keep your clothes clean. Don't wear dirty clothes frequently. Don't wear clean clothes frequently, I guess, because then they get dirty. And that's pretty much it. I mean, a lot of these things are super basic and obvious almost, but if you do them, if you get in the habit of doing them, you'll see a pretty big increase in quality of life, and even your mental health will increase. I'm probably going to make a video on basics of mental health eventually, but I gotta figure it out first. Otherwise, I'm just going to be no better off saying the information than anybody else. And I'm not an expert in any of this either. Just if you think that I know better than you, then maybe it'll help you. I think going up in what you know in steps can help versus learning from an expert and trying to jump to that level right away. A couple things that I forgot to mention are, at least with fitness, when you first start, your joints and your ligaments might not be as strong as your muscle is. Start training slowly. Let those catch up. That way you don't injure yourself. Make sure you're stretching a little bit too. Stretching sucks, honestly, but it's really good for you, especially limiting injury. If you're injured, it's a lot harder to do anything. So avoiding that with stretching and training up your joints and ligaments is good. Another thing with nutrition, I would include it in nutrition, but really just a general thing, is your vitamins, like especially vitamin D. Just go outside more, get fresh air, get sunlight. Obviously, if you're gonna be outside for a long time, put on sunscreen because skin cancer is not fun. So I've heard. Another important thing with fitness is to try to keep track of your progress by recording the amount of reps you did and the amount of set and even how difficult it was, like subjectively. That way you can watch the numbers go up, and you will probably hit a plateau eventually, because once your nervous system catches up and you're using all the muscle you have efficiently enough, now you're relying on building muscle to actually watch numbers go up. So you'll hit a plateau pretty quick. Honestly, the first month or two will be just your nervous system getting used to using the muscle you already have efficiently, and you'll see pretty rapid progress compared to after that, because then after that you're just relying on building muscle, and that's when progressive overload is really important. So just doing exercises with like drop sets at the end, and you can look a lot of this stuff up. I don't want to explain it because I will probably mess it up, and I don't want to give any information that's going to hurt more than it will help. So just be aware of that. You can take pictures of yourself to try to track progress. I mean, obviously don't get too weird about it, and try not to compare yourself to other people. Try to compare yourself to how you were yesterday or last week or last month. Just try to get better every day. Try to enjoy the process and not the result, because the results will take time, and you'll start seeing them, but even starting to see them will take time. So try to enjoy the process and just the actual doing of it. Try to enjoy the actual workout and not like the pump afterwards or anything like that. I find that once you get into the habit of working out, you kind of, even if you stop for a little bit, you'll almost not be able to stop after a certain amount of time. Like if you stop for a couple days, after those first couple days go by, you're gonna want to do it again because you'll just have all this energy, right? I think that's another reason why working out and just physical health in general can improve your mental health, is because you have all this energy that you're not using, and when you use it to work out, it can really help you. Another thing is this is probably the most important thing. This is just kind of the philosophy, if you will, behind all this. If you try to implement this all at one time, you might maybe do it for a week or two, maybe less, but you'll probably eventually stop. I would just try to do a little bit every day. Try to improve your sleep a little bit every day, and then try to improve your nutrition a little bit every day until all these things become habit. Because if you try to do it all at once, if you can do it, good job, I guess. But just try to get better every day, and try to know that you're getting better every day. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thanks.